Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters, and Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small, and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Eric Kniss.
Yo,
what's up, shorty? How you doing?
Hi.
Oh, hey, girlfriend.
I don't know.
Oh my God, let's never do that again.
We're taking that too far. Let's never do that.
Way too far.
Instant regret.
And we're here to talk Primer. I don't know where you want me to go with that.
Instant regret followed by awkward silence.
Yeah, and we're here to talk Primer from 2004. It is director Shane Carruth's directorial debut, and it is also the first movie in our time travel movie month, where we're going to be talking about movies with time travel. Shocking. Title
time
almost.
Travel movie month.
The time travel, the name almost gives it away. Almost, not really, but quite. Very close.
You know what the crazy thing is? This is the first movie that we're talking about in time travel movie month, but we already talked about the other two.
Did we?
What?
Fuck out of here. You trying to primer me right now?
I'm trying to fucking blow your mind, bro.
Oh my God. But so let's talk Primer. Film came out in 2004. Like I said, it's directed by Shane Carruth. Shane Carruth is also one half of the film's leading men. The other leading man is played by David Sullivan, who plays Abe. The IMDb synopsis for the film is: four friends, fledgling entrepreneurs, knowing that there's something bigger and more innovative than the different error-checking devices they've built, wrestle over their new invention.
I mean, you've got the $400 billion. You've gone the charity route. You have this perfect 100-room mansion with matching his and her yachts and helicopter pads. How do you fill your day? What do you do?
Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to read this, and you're going to listen, and you're going to stay on the line, and you're not going to interrupt. You're not going to speak for any reason. Some of this you know. I'm going to start at the top of the page.
Inside the box, it's like a street. Both ends are cul-de-sac.
They took from their surroundings what was needed and made of it something more.
And I can imagine no way in which this thing would be considered anywhere remotely close to safe. Why not the lottery? You have a margin account, right? For now, though, if you wanted to, you can just tell her you had a good day in the market.
You don't understand. No. You don't understand the questions that come with that, okay?
Hey. Whoa, come here for a second. What's on your hand? You bleeding?
Did you see that? I swear that was him. What the hell is he doing? Just sitting outside my house at 2 a.m.
There's no way I would tell anyone about this. No way.
Can you think of any reason that you might?
No, I can't.
Sometimes we do things, no, we don't know how we got to that.
No, I can't.
Can't what?
I can't think of any reason why I would.
There was value in the thing, clearly. That they were certain of.
Money. We'll make money.
Seen this film before. Eric essentially curated this month for us over at Kultureshock.com. So I'm going to kick it to you first, Eric, and I want you to tell me why we should be watching this movie and why you picked it.
Okay, so I'm a really, really, really big fan of time travel movies, but my taste in time travel movies is I really like the more realistic portrayals of time travel. So like the fantastical, like the fucking Back to the Future movies and things like that are really fun and they're really cool, but there's not some fucking crazy doc in his fucking house like building a time machine out of a DeLorean. There's no fucking way. So I like stuff, specifically movies that deal in like time loops and paradoxes, and so a lot of, in fact, all three of the movies that we're going to be talking about that deal with time travel this month are all kind of in that same vein of there's time travel that's happening and it is a more realistic portrayal, and there's definitely a lot of time looping and paradoxes and how to deal with that sort of stuff involved. And that's why I really, really, really like this movie. It's, as far as I can tell, even though time travel, as far as we know, is not even remotely close to being either possible or real. If it were, this movie to me is one of the more realistic portrayals I've ever seen of what time travel would probably look like. And that's why this movie has always sort of, I don't know, it's just kind of tickles my fancy a little bit. And you had never seen it before this.
No, I hadn't seen it before, and the real issue that I have with this movie is, okay, so when we started talking, I told you that I didn't like this movie.
Yeah, spoilers. Chris didn't like this movie.
But I think it's not a matter of not liking it. I think it's a matter of not having a really good sense of what's going on after watching it just once.
Yeah.
The problem is this movie is an hour and 17 minutes long. Yeah, it's not even a full hour and a half because this film was shot for $7,000 on a shoestring budget, to the point where Shane Carruth, I don't know if you've noticed it when you've watched it, and I didn't notice it the first couple times he does it, but you can kind of see it a couple times later in the film. He says cut, like while you're watching the film. He says cut.
Really?
He mutters cut under his breath because they had so little film stock to use that they were literally having to have him in front of the camera acting and saying cut to make sure that they didn't waste film. They shot 80 minutes of film and they used 78 of it.
Damn, son.
Right. So just on that alone, it's impressive that this film exists in the state that it is. It's a fairly complex idea, and not even a fairly complex idea. I mean, if you go on Wikipedia,
really
there's like a
complex idea.
Yeah. If you go on Wikipedia, there's like a picture explaining how the time travel in this film works. It is not.
No, there's I've spent hours and hours talking to people and researching shit on how the time travel in this movie works. And it's extremely well thought out, as far as I've seen so far with this movie is there are no plot holes as far as the time travel goes. So in certain movies, you're like, well, that would never happen. How did he go back in time and do that other thing? And they're just like, oh, time travel. No shit. Duh. But in this movie, the time travel gets so convoluted and so fucking crazy, so quickly, because this movie is so short. The second the time travel is introduced, shit goes fast. And that's why the first time I ever watched this movie, I watched it twice in the same night, back to back. I was like, I gotta know, No,
the time travel is it's shored up. Where they're going is shored up. It makes a lot of sense once I, went and looked at it after the fact.
Then you were like, oh, okay, all right, now I get it.
Yeah, no, I understood it after the fact, but if you watch this movie and you don't read the Wikipedia plot explanation and you don't look at some of the stuff like the picture on Wikipedia that shows you how the time travel works, then you're going to be lost, like horribly confused. And you will have zero idea what's going on.
People. You have to really, really, really pay attention to what's going on in this movie, and then you're still going to get lost. And so it's definitely a multiple watch movie or a watch movie and consult the Wikipedia or, however many Reddit threads or whatever afterwards. I saw this movie back in, I don't know, it had to be 2007, 2008 or something. So like several years after it had been out. And it was at my buddy's like dorm room at UCLA. And I was like visiting him and he had it on just like a thumb drive. And he's like, dude, I just got this movie from my friend. It's called Primer. It's the fucking craziest time travel movie I've ever seen. And I don't understand what's going on. And I need you to watch it so that we can figure it out together. And so like that was my first experience with this movie. I don't know. Ever since then, like it's always kind of held a special place in my imagination.
I can imagine this being like right up a film student's alley.
Yeah. He wasn't even a film student. He was a physics major, so like made it
even more so.
Yeah, it's just like it's a nerdy science fiction movie made for like engineers, because like they use all this like engineer and like physics jargon and stuff like that, and they're just throwing out stuff and they don't explain any of it. They're just like using terms that most people have never heard of, will never know the meaning of in their entire lives. Because they're talking about like basic, but at the same time, like concept ideas and mathematics and physics. It's like just basic enough so that people can be like, well, yeah, that's a real thing. Okay. But then it's like just convoluted enough to where it makes you go, did that really work? And so it's like it toes this line where they're not just like throwing out bullshit terms and just saying like, yeah, that exists.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster. You know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week, and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
In this universe, they're trying to ground it in reality as much as humanly possible, which is really cool.
Well, and that's the other thing about the time travel that they talk about in this movie. The time travel in this movie is not like the time travel that you're used to.
Yeah, it's not.
So the way the time travel works in this film, best of my knowledge is you get into a machine and you wait for 6 hours and you travel into the past, and your double gets out of the machine, does stuff for 6 hours, and then you cease to your original version of you that got into the box 6 hours later ceases to exist, right?
It's
like a loop.
It is.
Like you're traveling up on this loop and back down. So if you imagine a line and then on the line there's a loop, the line continues after the loop, but everything that took place in that loop is taking place outside of the timeline. But when it returns back, you erase the loop essentially disappears.
So yeah, the best way that I can describe it is they talk about it in the movie how the machines, and they say it at one point, are single-use only machines. And they talk about how at one point, I think it was Abe's character was talking about how he was afraid to turn the machine off in the middle of something because he wasn't sure if his double was still in the machine or not. And so it's like one of those things where it's like the machines are constantly running in this loop. And so there is constantly somebody in the machine, and there is constantly somebody. It's either you or your double are constantly either in the machine or out of the machine. And at some point, you are both in it and out of it at the same time. It's like a weird, convoluted thing. And so they get around the whole single use thing. The main character, I forget his name in the movie, Shane Carruth's character, goes back in one of the boxes and brings a broken down machine with him. Because there are these little, Home Depot made, it's PVC pipe and plating and, wiring and everything. It can be broken down and made small. And so he goes back in one of the machines and brings another machine with him and then sets up that machine.
Which is the fail-safe machine.
There was another fail-safe machine that was left running the entire time. And so I think the whole thing is like the machine, the way that it works is when you turn the machine on is when you go back to, right? Like you can't go back farther than when you turn the machine on. And so the reason he had that failsafe on the whole time was in case shit gets crazy, I can go back in the failsafe and then basically undo all of this time travel stuff so that it never happens.
And that's the thing about the time travel in this movie is you can time travel back like 6 hours, and it's kind of it.
Well, that's why he's got that failsafe machine running, so he can travel back days.
Right.
He can travel back. I mean, it's not clear if it's days or if it's weeks or, whatever. But however, basically, you can only time travel back to when the machine was first turned on.
Right, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to get back.
Yeah, well,
you'd have to wait. You'd have to wait for the machine to exist again.
Yeah, it's like, where are you going back to? Yeah.
So you can't travel back to when Hitler was alive and kill him, because then you'd have to wait 70 years to come back.
Right. And so it sort of like exists in this space where, yes, it's a time travel machine, but that doesn't mean that you can travel back in time. Yeah. It's more of a time loop creator. So it just creates this time loop. And you can go back in this loop and just,
imagine, the best way to actually explain this would be, imagine if you could control Groundhog Day.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Imagine if you were able to be like, okay, I'm going to go back again. And that's essentially this. Because you can go back, but you can never go far enough back to really do anything other than like make money.
Yes. Well, they do that in the movie. They go back. So what they do is they go and they sit in the box for the specified amount of time, which is around 6 hours. I think that's the time that it takes for the machine to warm up and then run and then cool down. Because the machine is almost, when they're building this thing that I'm not even sure they know what they're building, they're just like using this stuff. Like they don't know that they're building a time travel device. I don't even know what they're building. They never really even say it at the beginning. And they sort of stumble upon this thing. So they were building this machine, and the machine is almost a perpetual energy device. Like the whole thing was they're in the garage and Shane Carruth's character was like, dude, you gotta fucking check this shit out, Abe. This thing is doing some crazy shit. And they're putting, it's like 24 volts of electricity in it. It's like 2 car batteries or some shit like that to run the machine. And it's running. And then they're getting more power out of the machine than they put into it. And they're like, well, that's kind of weird, but I guess that's not impossible. And then he basically unplugs both the batteries, and they are still getting the same amount of power out of the machine that they're getting into it. So the thing's like self-sustaining for a period of time. And so on a larger scale, I think it's from the time you turn it on to the time when it cools down, that period of it's being self-sustaining is 6 hours. And that's why you have to be in it for that amount of time. And so that's why if the machine is ever on, you don't want to turn it off or hop in it, because if the machine's on, then somebody is in the machine.
And you could run into yourself.
And they do run into themselves several times in different fashions in the movie. It's interesting. It's interesting the way that they do it too. It's interesting the day that Abe shows Shane's character that the time travel machine exists and that it works is like really crazy. And he talks about how he went into the machine and he was in there for 6 hours and then he got out and it was like the morning before when he got out. So like he just went and hung out at a hotel all day, like away from like the next town over or something like that, and did nothing and tried to affect absolutely nothing and like lock himself away. And then he like made one, I think it was like an investment or whatever, or bought a bunch of stocks and then waited a couple of hours for the stocks to double and then sold them. So he made a little bit of money and then sat in a hotel room all day and didn't fucking talk to anybody or do shit. And then at the end of the day, he goes back to the place and like sees his double like getting into the box or something. It's like the next morning or like later on that day or something like that. It's confusing. Like I feel like I need that Wikipedia like infographic up so that I can visualize exactly how it's going.
It's one of those things where a film like this is so ambitious, and I have nothing against ambition. I don't. But unfortunately, when you have a film like this that's so ambitious, it kind of gets too ambitious for its own good.
Yeah, it's just, the movie is like...
And this is like the problem with this movie, is that it is a little too ambitious for its own good to be enjoyed the first time.
The movie is almost like a physics thought experiment more than it is like an entertainment like movie.
Right, and I mean it's only an hour and 17 minutes long, so you could watch it twice in one day, and that's the amount of time you would have spent maybe watching a longer piece. But it's one of those films where it's not that I don't like it. It's just that it is too ambitious to be able to have a concise opinion about it after the first time I watched it.
It's a lot of movie to like watch and understand and digest, like especially the first time.
And time travel movies are like that. We're going to run into that a lot this month in both written and Kulturecast, but having seen Donnie Darko, I know and understand Donnie Darko. I understand the idea that Donnie Darko is going for. I understand what the film is aiming at when it's trying to tell its time travel, and it's not really time travel. Donnie Darko is kind of time travel, but not really.
Yeah, Donnie Darko is almost like supernatural time travel.
It's more like alternate universes, like tangent universe, parallel universe.
Yeah, it's like parallel universes, like wormholes, like that type of thing.
Donnie Darko is not time travel. This is like time travel.
Yeah, this is full on time travel. Yeah. This and the other movie, Time Crimes. This movie and Time Crimes are very similar in their time travel. This movie is definitely the most convoluted of all the three.
Yeah, and it is convoluted and it's complex. And I don't know if we can sit here and try to even explain this anymore, because I feel like I don't know. This is a hard film to sit and try to explain, because I'm not even sure our explanation is right.
Yeah, that's definitely it's definitely an issue when you're talking about this movie, because you're always second guessing yourself, because you're like, well, is that really how it happened? Is that really how it went down? It's interesting because this movie definitely makes you second guess yourself quite a lot when you're watching it. I don't know. It's because there comes a point when there is a small amount of narration in the movie, and you find out partway through the movie that the narration is coming from one of the main characters
who's in the future.
Yeah, who is a double of one of the characters who exists separately from the characters that you're watching. And there's like the ending of the movie like gets really convoluted like really quickly. Then there's the whole like moral dilemma that they have with, there's that whole sequence with the guy at the party who breaks out the shotgun, and they're like trying to stop anything bad from happening, at the party.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output, and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
And so they go back in time to like try and mess with that scenario to make it so that it doesn't, so that nothing shitty happens, or maybe that it doesn't happen. And it's interesting. And then and by the end of the movie, there's two sets of the main characters. There are the main characters, and then there are the alternate main characters.
And then there's the third alternate.
And then there's third alternate.
Like past, original, and future versions of the characters.
Yeah.
And then there's one of the characters' father-in-laws goes back in time. It's just it gets really it's never
weird.
It's never even explained how that happens, or
and it's like one of those things where he probably didn't go back in time until like way further along than what we saw in the movie. But like, it's crazy. This is like, I would love if they remade Primer as like a 6-episode miniseries and just like slowed everything down a little bit. And so you have 6 one-hour episodes where you can get into the explanation of the time travel and how all of this shit is happened, and the creation of the alternate versions of yourself, and then how those versions can affect things that are happening in the present, even though they are from the future, and a bunch of other stuff.
I mean, I guess, though, like, isn't that the huge kind of plus about this film for people who like it? It's so confusing. It's like a secret little club if you understand this film, or understand in quotations.
Yeah, if you think that you understand it, if you can... Yeah, I don't know. This movie is definitely fucking way out there. And I think that's definitely part of, it's definitely part of the whole appeal of this.
And then the end of the film, it just leaves more questions.
Yeah. So the end of the film, you have one of the doubles stays and is keeping watch over the originals, or is it one of the originals that's watching over the doubles?
Right.
See, that's the whole thing about the whole time travel and being stuck in this loop where there's multiple versions of yourself, is which one of you is the original and which one of you is the duplicate.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's another reason that I like this movie a lot, and it kind of goes back to it being sort of like this weird, like, smarty pants club. Like I said earlier, this movie's more of a thought experiment than it is like a film. And so when you have, you have the doubles, and one of them is staying back to keep watch over, like, the originals or the other doubles and like their families and stuff, to make sure that everything's okay. I think he's like protecting them from other people who might, or other versions of themselves that might try to go back in time and take over, like if you go back in time and you're like, fuck you, you're just a double, like this is my family, and then like you end up killing your own double and then taking over in their place or whatever. I think that's why he's staying back, and then he basically tells the other guy, you need to get the fuck out of here, because he's starting to come unhinged a little bit. And at the very end of the movie, he's like in another country somewhere. It's like, I don't know.
Wikipedia says France, but I just have again, like, at the end of the film, like, he's
France, so they're speaking France.
They are speaking France.
But yeah, so and
the end of the film is again, it's warehouse. Just more questions. They're building a giant warehouse-sized box.
Yeah,
to time travel in.
Yeah.
Again, it's not clear to me how time travel works. Like, how far back can they go?
I'm not sure.
Right? It's just not made clear.
The only thing that I believe is true is you can't go back further than
the box exists.
Than when the box exists and was actually turned on.
I don't know.
It's like you have to leave the box running for a while, and then you can like go do a bunch of shit. So it's like, imagine like if you had one of these boxes just hanging out in your fucking garage as one of these time machine boxes, and at the beginning of the day you wake up and the first thing that you do is you turn on that box and you go all day just doing your shit and everything, and then like at the end of the day you hop into the box and take a little nap and chill out, and then you wake up and get out of the box, and it's the beginning of the day again. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, it's not clear.
It's I know that if I watched the movie again right now, I'd probably be like, that's not how that fucking works. Stop being an idiot. But like, I can't see a way for you to go back in time to a point where the box doesn't exist, because you're in the box when you're traveling through time. You don't just travel through time outside of the box. So yeah, like we said, you can never go back in time and kill Hitler. You can never go back in time and like, fucking see the dinosaurs or whatever.
But you can go back in time and make money.
You can go back in time and you can sell some stocks and buy some stocks and sell some stocks and make fucking money.
Or bet on football games and sports and stuff like that.
Yeah, they bring that up a couple of times. And that's in a lot of, time travel movies. That's like the first thing that people think about. They're like, oh shit, I could make a ton of money if I know what's going to happen. And it's funny because they're watching, at one point, they're sitting in the hotel room that they like are always sitting in when they're like doing their whole time travel thing, because they don't want to run into themselves. So they go away from like their homes and like their town. And so they're sitting in that hotel room and they're watching like a basketball game. And they're like, wait a second, we're supposed to win this. And there's like 3 seconds left. And they have like this panic moment where they're like, oh fuck, wait a second, is something going to be different? And then they're like, no, wait, hold on. They foul and they miss a free throw and then we hit a 3-pointer and that's how we win. And it's just like, oh. So they sort of like address all of these like they address all the things that are brought up a lot in time travel movies, and they address them all really subtly and really quickly. And so there's a lot of shit in there. There's a lot of shit stuffed into there in a really short amount of time. This is one of those movies that I kind of almost wish was 2 hours long instead of barely more than an hour, so that they could have done it like a little slower, just so that we can all kind of go, okay, so that happened. And then we can take 5 minutes, while there's like dialogue or something going on, so that we can all kind of like digest it. But this movie happens so quickly. Everything, all the time travel happens so fast once it starts that it's really hard to like, I don't know, it's really hard to figure out what the fuck is going on, unless you watch it. You gotta watch it like 2 or 3 times. Like, I've probably seen this movie, I don't know, 20 times, maybe more, just because every time I watch it, it's always like been a little while since I've seen it, and I'm going to have to fucking watch it again. I watched it twice yesterday. I'm going to have to watch it again tonight because now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll watch it again. Unfortunately, I think it's one of those movies where I've seen it, I kind of get the gist of what they were going for, but I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah,
because like it's
my whole thing is
not
like, I have to know.
It's not like
have to.
It's not a particularly entertaining film, though.
No, it's really, it's almost procedural. It's like it's kind of about the character development, even though there's like not a ton of like character development that happens.
Yeah.
Because you're just like not given a lot to work with as far as like the characters are concerned. It's really like this movie really leans on the fact that you're going to be really confused and into the way that they did the time travel. And that's what's going to keep you hooked on this movie. And that's what kept me hooked on this movie. And I can see why that would not be as interesting or matter as much to somebody else.
Well, I mean, my problem with this movie is other than it being like so obtuse, is that like there are movies out there similar to this film that do this idea better and more interesting. Like, I get that this movie was going for like kind of a philosophical spin, but
at the same time, like, I've never really felt like it was really hammering in that whole philosophical angle.
Right.
I always thought that this movie was like, it's the nerdiest version and the closest to reality that you'll ever get to seeing what actual time travel might look like. And that's kind of what always like piqued my interest about this movie.
Right.
That more than almost anything else, which, I mean, if that's what I like most about this movie, then is it a really great movie? I mean, for somebody's first movie, holy shit, this movie is fucking awesome. For somebody's first movie, holy shit. And he did Upstream Color as well. That was like a few years ago. That's really, really similar to this movie. Upstream Color is very similar to this movie, but is it's paced a little bit better and it's a little bit more thought out. And and it's more cinematic.
Right.
And this movie is really like, it's really like home video, semi found footage, but like not found footage. It just like has that shaky like hand cam feel. Yeah, it's like a really procedural look at time travel and what it would look like if you had real people who accidentally figured out like how to time travel, and then like what the fuck happens. You know, what happens if like you and your other engineer friend like figured out time travel by accident? Like, what the fuck would you do? Who would you tell? Like, how would you go about figuring it out? You know, and that's kind of really what this movie is. You know, I don't know if that's the goal of this movie. I don't know if they wanted it to be a little bit more philosophical or a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know what they were going for in this movie, but it's I don't know what to say about this movie, because I understand that this movie is not the best time travel movie that exists. It's, you know, not the best representation of how time loops work or how they would work if they were a real thing. And it's not a really convincing character piece.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
It doesn't bring a whole lot of like the time travel ethics and paradoxes into play, but there's something about this movie that's almost like it takes all the basics from everything that we think that we know would happen with time travel, and it shows you how all of that stuff would actually work in real life.
Well, I mean, there's movies that are similar to this. I mean, Looper focuses on this like time loop thing. I mean, albeit they don't really, like, this is more focusing on like the science behind it.
Yeah, this is like, if this was going to be real, here's what it would look like.
Yeah.
I don't
know. Looper is interesting. Deja Vu, another movie, time travel movie that kind of touches on similar stuff that this movie touches on. Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, but those are all, I mean, those movies.
Time travel isn't the front and center.
No, it's almost like Groundhog's Day, but like set in different.
Well, Edge of Tomorrow definitely is.
Edge of Tomorrow is definitely
Deja Vu. I feel like pretty good movie. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's directed
Deja Vu is cool.
Tony Scott, so there's that. Tony Scott. Yeah.
Well, plus I got Denzel, so.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Denzel, but he's good in that.
I mean, he's good in pretty much
Denzel was in a movie about trains going off the rails. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Dude, did you see that movie? I was worried about that train.
I saw that movie. That movie is trash.
I was worried about that train, dude. I was worried about the people on that train.
Unstoppable is garbage. And I think we talked about it on a podcast. That movie is terrible. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. If you have never cared about trains, watch that movie and you will care about trains.
If you have never cared about trains, watch that movie and you still won't care about trains. But I think that's the issue with Primer, is that for me, as much as I can applaud Shane Carruth for what he did, and for this being like his first film, I wasn't entertained. I felt like I had to sit and think a whole lot more than I probably should have. And that's fine, but like, you know.
This movie entertains me in like a really specific way. You know, like
I get that.
There are the movies that you watch that you're like, oh, that was just fun. That was just cool. That was awesome. You know, like, you know, good story, good acting, great action, great effects or whatever, and things like that. This movie is like I don't know. It's like a brain exercise that I'm like, fuck, my head hurts. But like, I'm going to spend the next 5 hours trying to work out what the fuck just happened, because if I don't, I'm going to drive myself insane.
Well, and that's the other thing, right? I mean, this movie totally takes the piss out of time travel.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, it's really like, there's none of the like fun, quirky, you know, like time travel shenanigans that, you know, that people, like even in serious time travel movies, there's always like the, you know, tongue-in-cheek segment, you know, where they make a joke about time travel or whatever, you know, adjust something like ever so slightly, you know, in like a goofy way. This movie is not that at all. like not even a little bit. It's dead serious, like, you know, from the word go.
Yeah. There's nothing about, like, honestly, there's nothing about this movie that's fun.
Yeah, it's not. It's
they don't have fun with time travel.
No, and
yeah,
I mean, they're looking at it from a very analytical standpoint, and that's the standpoint that the movie takes. It's a really analytical look at time travel.
It's a crazy movie. It is a crazy movie. It's one of those movies where just like I don't want to watch it again, but I mean, if I really wanted to quote unquote understand it, I probably should.
Yeah. No, it's definitely it's one of those movies that I know a lot of people are not going to like, but there's a small group of people out there that this is really going to get your brain moving, and you're really going to have a good time trying to figure out, you know, what the fuck this movie is all about.
Yeah, it's something. Good Lord.
It's something.
Yeah, it's something. So, what would you give this film out of 5?
Oh God. I'm going to give this movie 3 out of 5. Conceptually, it's a really high concept movie. I mean, the premise, if you whittle it down to its core, is like pretty simple, but the execution of, you know, the whole time travel and the way that the loops work and everything is way better thought out than almost any other time travel movie that I've ever seen. And so just that alone carries it into the 3 category. The rest of it is sort of, you know, the acting is sort of mediocre at best, you know, in its best sections. The character development is like kind of semi-non-existent, but as a case study of time travel, there are few movies that are on par with this movie.
Yeah, it's a film that, like I said, it's a crazy ass movie that probably, if you really want to watch it, you really probably should watch it a couple times, because it kind of necessitates that. So I'm gonna give it like a 3 out of 5, but it's one of those movies where if you watch it the first time and you have an adverse reaction to it like I did, it's probably because this movie is intentionally confusing.
Yeah, it's really, really convoluted, and it's not helped by the fact that it's really short.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not kidding when I say that the second that the time travel portions of this movie happen, it's like all hell breaks loose until the end of the movie. You know, like, there is an seemingly infinite number of time loops that happen from that point to the end of the movie. Yeah, and they do that on purpose. So
yeah. So, with all that out of the way, what do you think the film has on Rotten Tomatoes?
I don't know, actually. This is one of those rare movies where I didn't accidentally look it up ahead of time. I'd say maybe in like the low 70s or something like that would make sense to me.
71.
Yeah, boom, guessed it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Rotten Tomatoes synopsis is pretty close. Dense, obtuse, but stimulating, Primer is a film for viewers ready for a cerebral challenge. I would agree with that.
That's exactly what this movie is.
Yeah.
It's a cerebral challenge.
It is a challenging film that most people who watch it aren't gonna like. So.
It's one of those movies that, like, you don't want to, like, be fucking around, like, with your friends, or, like, not paying attention, or fucking around on your phone when you're watching this movie, because you're gonna miss something, and it's gonna be important, and then you're gonna walk out of, you know, the room when you watch that movie and you go, that was fucking stupid, and I don't understand what the fuck was going on. Even if you sit there and pay really close attention the entire time, you still might run into a situation where you're like, fuck, I still don't know what the fuck is going on. That shit is fucking lame. But I prefer movies like this that explain nothing and give you a lot of shit to work with than the movies that give you the bare minimum to work with and then explain everything to you.
Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't need to explain it, man. Come on.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
So, yeah.
So, you got anything you want to plug before we wrap this up and talk about what we're doing next week?
Well, Vulcan just finished last week filming a music video. We were out in the desert. Things got a little weird. So that's going to come out at some point in the future. I don't know when it's going to come out, but it'll be weird and cool and fun when it does come out. We should be heading to the studio relatively soon to record album number 2. Actually, I can announce something official. Our split with the band LLNN has been announced. Officially, it's coming out June 7th. 6th or 16th, one of those in Europe, and then July for the U.S. It's cool. They're a cool band, hardcore band from Copenhagen, and we have a split with them where they have 5 or 6 songs and we have 1 song, and our sides are the same length of music. So
that's one long song.
Yeah, or they just have a bunch of 1 second songs or something like that. But yeah, it's a 18-minute long ridiculous piece of shit of a song. But yeah, check that out when it comes out. It's called Traces Marks Traces. Yeah.
And people can follow you on Twitter?
They can. You can follow me on Twitter. I tweet occasionally. Most of the time I forget to tweet. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. Those are the only 2 things that I ever use, and that's are both at Tycho Magnetics. Actually, you can play video games with me on PlayStation there as well, and really that's only if you're playing Destiny, because that's kind of all I'm playing.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Kulturestash, and if you like what you're hearing now, cultureshock.com/Kulturecast, where you can go to check out 100 plus episodes of the Kulturecast. We're also on all podcast apps, Android, iOS, hell, we're probably even on Zune if you look hard enough.
What? Zune? I was literally going to ask you about Zune.
Yeah. Patreon.com/culture_shocked is where you can go to check out our Patreon, where you can kick a couple dollars our way every month, help us out, get some great rewards like early podcasts or podcasts that were deemed too hot for TV.
Ooh.
So head on over there, give us money, please. I won't beg again. Just kidding. I'll beg next podcast.
Yeah, those podcasts that were too hot for TV are the racist ones.
Yeah. And so the next podcast, speaking of the next podcast, we're going to be talking about Marvel's newest film in the MCU. None other than Guardians of the Galaxy of Volume 2. Film's getting rave reviews, obviously, unsurprisingly, I would say. James Gunn is a good director, but film's getting good reviews. I
totally forgot that was this week.
Yeah, it comes out this Friday, so we're going to be talking about it next week. So make sure to check that one out.